Fesili love pitch or feel like do we let's have a direct contact might land to mobile global quarantine thing.
Well, we have to separate living or direct contact with casual contact. So far, I go as a fubu bua, sukolo. Ia ko ede mas contact ba me dari dunga pa. Kami yang operate trains, kami yang social they had no contact with them.
So that's casual.
So we are treating that as casual. In the sense the contact but casual ya dia lang ada ngol dungol pa but ngade mako staff ye ko yang aku ye tahu we are treating them as closer contacts but as I said the risk like here because they operate that screen ada university jadi university me aku say pula wa ngade ko mai pa ya ko ka ko mal po ai ko fula ko FEILOAIGA sih mah, ini finally first. So olvainga la le lesfu kodu le mo de casual. Ona o manage pe. Ya rapega fu de ko fala de wa pe FEILOAIGA and we are hoping ngana ka wa do test la ko ai de releasing. So we are looking at the time the alpha pill that will inoculate this virus. It will take time for the virus to replicate it and then the science of virus is usually 3 to 5 days. If I don't contagious of finger PC aku discount. It's true but million mafakua de ni. Tor kami na nemo ke ba. Pues kay fa penga. If I any test before they are released home, you have to be sure they don't have the virus.
So they position ka koma is direct contact makama you confirm
So far no. Now pawaler ko nga direct contact ole au mayo documents le basta ke.
Just to clarify that, ole le kako standard policy so almo sila fiele mi. Kamu merba ale fa ka mai ko. E isolate mo sia saida mo kapkin ya. Ele isip so ka ina makako ko. Kaya mo mai fa ka mga le.
Cara proses
o processa nga le fa tsanga nei. Wa so tainga foi la tatou ma wa va umane o mai e la ko e cheni ngai. So tainga na tatou e longo e cheni le processia e fatti no tu mo ne. Pui.
Agora Fesili malo ale scambio ma puntata mo su formato. Alla scuola tutti non fa bene ma non vuole io senza tutto. Ai ole Fesili o manino foi processo na ai ole Fesili fa mo por pensar mo no na ai se anche me la una le lava tanto me fatti noi tanto fatto sai a tutto ali que sabe.
Ele vai que vai kusaka ko ya cuida to start. Magari ko cuida de ingina ko repatriation flights. Ele pio ko re test. Sa o le flight ko se la mandu test ko se la mandu. Sa o le flight test fa querer la fa yo ka test. The last 2 flights o ka ko testing ya FAALAVELAVE flight manager to be safe. And on top of that, we test umada fenga ngale yor managari. Mana be ile chance exposure the fenga health. Okay, the port we gone through that kaka umaya fenga ifo ba ngova ya. We have to screen them for for ngale yo Charles manage isolation. We have to go through that. Ya makula man makova ai. It's not testing life. It's more a touch and go. They're not going to stay here, and they're not going to go to the public. It is a chance why you may So the most appropriate thing on the screen basis is more humanitarian needs a treatment, we treat them. We give them some treatment. Testing that's when the quarantine process becomes, and we wait for the virus to replicate. We test. So I don't know what capacity. Maybe many of the test. If I pay the repatriating things, it also not testing. So on that, we have another 4 flights coming. Yeah, they come there. Okay, uma foi me. Ko test what ka ko sta. Ini fa pera ku ngoma fa ele ka ko. Ka le fa ya.
Ipe o Fesili lo fiona le asa ya se foi. O dai fuori. O dai matou ia tu si lo mai fa forma per tele o so ani bo ia mai fa so ani sapena no le kuina o Samoa. Ia ole ka pe le la mai pe si
on the tele society meio PPEs. Le rangi aquare test la ko kana. So fast being over from Canada and then go by. Now the food mo after virus of test. Then I spread it Pacific for ko no test. Wala kinga o ka go le lima test. Anyway, but we still I monitor for Makula for your test again. But as I've said, the test is just a confirmatory. I'm going confirm that I have the Republic. I have to Tahiti or South. I come some test my Tahiti. Okay, entirely. But still, it's Magova, it's Maduna test. I'm a lawyer. Quarantine, this is so fast, so long. If we test it, I test it while I need it. Then we say, okay, if I don't add with the why, going my phone, if I hear on the reasoning, but the kid of society and my kid, I never society, but not tests for everything, kid, all I for
Policy vai Silvia pel tatou. Tal mai tatou polo inga e tonu wa ia na tatou rejectinga. Ele I mawhaion whau whale na mai. Na al temina ele ingi test. Al siaki an tanga luenga soi fu malolo ina sa whai whafu. Ia e mawai ia tunu ia na o mai eisi o le au waa. Ia mau whaadia fo I symptoms o le fulu. Ia ele ingi test. Ai sa fai alfa I unga ale mtanga luenga. Ia matite ai tasilva ala o loa lua va whanota na te ena e tatou mtanga luenga. Talu mai ono fa sau tatou polo inga. Ele las tu langa vole fa pele o le ai a maua ia vaenga ia pion sa no le usa ile process le fatino ai. Ia e fai alfa I unga I tai ele I o mai va I ton.
Se no le fa mal na mai testing the pay on New Zealand. I said New Zealand transit. Ele testing oi. Eu peguei oi foi New Zealand. Mas se lo transit exame. Vai ele foi ganhar de rua. Que não foi como ele foi lá só teste foi. Né? Eu queria coisa que saiu, né? So eu lá de Macova. Ele vai pegar uma pia macola na rotes. Pia macola ele se outcome le lei mo caco. Agora test ko eu do ka ia fe wa ele se fa mas inga do morsan. Ele o mofo se wa ka go fo de por ega.
Soal oleh proses le fa tau tai mo va le mai na tunu ia o Tahiti le sa ia le va le o mai Samoa o le fa mai le virus ele inform mai ele authority at Tahiti a me o le ia tanga tolo a fi le virus I dungo le va le o tau mai sa
Foi documentation ia vai ko mai test. If I test all my yes, yes is a positive test, even the physical, like medical appearance. Nea wai ranga o kura kau timingi, ba, e rei masi se fōringa mai po o fubu po. A mea o maranga pe masanga wasa, we give it to the agents. E responsible la agent e ka ula po. A mai na ema ko kofi e kai le quarantine boy. E le whaika pi i le wafu. E nga mai no leo agent, me madi se whakai. So sometimes we leave it for 10 days. Say no already, mai la ko pe po.
Le rau mau atu tūlanga lea. E le su whawhale le tātou e te sui e tātou o whainga i e mo le wafu lea e ono pe a mai lawa le test pe documents i e whaali mai rawa o man whaatino la tui ma tūlanga kuikuinga i o le coronavirus. E whaatino pe le tui le test i nei Samoa la wai a mo le kuikuinga na i mana. Walo mai tau atu lea mai e documents.
Ya, masalo le mo wha mana mane le ia re fo wai ko si gen le ke ma wo mai. Le test nga pe afa pe o le ngofo. Vai i ka kai ni sira nga mai ngofo fa ko mane va le mai le test ke ni si. O le va le nga sa wai unload that's all. E le ai si a ru ilano. Le si so fa sang fa ka. So me na nga de ai le ola fo ila ka ko test fa pe we have to test everyone. Pe o le rational nga le approach le. O le fica fo i il ka ko malo si le. Unless if I o main co test kits, a test la o ko pa ko then we can perform the test. Or po kiri ka ko test. Yang apa itu we can do what American Samoa is doing.
For example, there were already carriers of the virus. We all made in Samoa, but because it depends on test, so we didn't need to check that over. There are moments to be here. Isn't that the risk they have to
then I think PPEs. We calculate the risk when they come. After they have negative tests, we still do PPEs. We are not walking up there up here. Kalau negative test ya, kalau fabrika ko lo Fesco vai maru lo fa ka di kai se uma lo ole o ma kwa fai u me ya minimize the risk nga while measure ya mai ro ka e fa de ai nga o fai la ko fa ka ala an lo le me o de ko ela la trina o no ko fa nga ka o fico e le ma fa nga ku vai se lu le fa de ba ko le ko man ba nga de fa ma la ma mo fo agents so porenga ngare sterilization. Yeah, like here but we're still doing the sterilization kaya le fa nga ya machine quarantine me fa nga.
Hi there. Thank you very much for making the time to speak to us today. Please forgive me in advance if I ask you to repeat yourselves. As you know, my Samoan is limited. Can you confirm, please, exactly how many local staff are put into quarantine versus how many you've asked to be isolating themselves at home for a couple of weeks or even 1 week?
Is this from this particular incident or?
Yes.
I think about 17.
Can you
Is that
confirm
a staff?
17 staff across the health
Not health.
and the
2 from
schools?
health.
Okay.
2 from Port Authority, and
13 from
I think 13 from the stevedoring company.
Stevedoring company, thank you. And how many people outside of that 17 have you contacted about the fact that they may have been contacting one of those 17 people since Saturday, Sunday?
Are you talking about contact tracing?
Yes.
Well, the risk is very low.
Sure.
We only do contact tracing when we have a positive case, highly suspicious, even highly suspicious cases.
So you contacted no one else about taking extra precautions?
We have spoken to their families. And I think the stevedoring, when I informed the stevedoring government, they've already got in the families and even our staff.
And what precautions have you asked them to take as a result of possibly being in contact even with a low risk contact?
The precautions we're telling the public.
Which Which are?
You read, wash your hands, wear a mask, stay home.
So you're asking people to stay home until when?
The concerned ones.
Yeah. And are they in managed quarantine in the hotel system, or are they just being asked to stay home?
Let me have the Sapir.
If you
The
don't mind
Ministry of
advising.
Health, you told me about promotions, right? Profiles, advisories. The Ministry of Health has invested quite a lot of money through television advertisements.
If you
and
don't mind, I
everything
just want to talk
on
about the
the
context that are being asked to
prevention
quarantine at home.
of
Where are they being
COVID.
quarantined, please?
Sapir.
We're
This is
keeping
all
it
about
confidential.
I'm just asking if they're in the system or if they're at home. That's my only question.
In the system.
Okay, thank
I
you.
thought I said managed,
I
or
wasn't sure, I
controlled.
just wanted to confirm. And
Controlled.
can you please confirm for us, how do you calculate the risk of whether or not these people that were confirmed positive in Pango, whether they were infectious at the time that they were here in Samoa? How have you calculated that risk?
How would you calculate?
I am not a doctor, sir, that's
Well,
why I'm asking.
That's a medical student class, but I can do that for you. I don't want to drain the minds of the other journalists for such an academic questions like what you do.
So shall I stay after this and you can explain that to me?
You can stay.
Okay, thank you. So can I ask then, why did it take nearly 24 hours for Samoa to hear from you, or any of you on the panel, please, about what the situation was, even a preliminary statement to say that you're gathering more information? Why did it take so long?
Let me respond to that. We said it very clearly from the genesis of our introductory remarks that when we respond in a coordinated fashion. And as you can see here, Sapir, this is only part of the National Emergency Operations Committee. There is more than 20 plus of the members. When issues of this nature emerge, there is a coordinated fashion that we must follow. And the hope of the essence of doing that is to make sure that we get the information from the relevant agencies, and to ensure that when we release such an information to the public, it's not piecemeal, it's not broken, it must be presented in a well-coordinated manner. And that's what we did yesterday. So we released the coordinated collective response from NEOC, and that is an indication, as we've said from the beginning of our interview, it's the representation of what we call a collective response from the committee. All right. Our approach is not to quickly go to the media and say that we are the first ones to break the news. All right. We'd like to present to the country, as we always said, factual information, quality information, and that if it requires time to do that, we will go through that to ensure that the country is well informed. There is no use of jumping to the media and say this is it, and then the information or the facts will come later. What we have done, or what we did yesterday, is to go through the agents, those who were at the scene, how that the process was undertaken, how that they executed their prescribed responsibilities at the border, the multi-border agencies, as you may be aware, the police, the Ports Authority, the Ministry of Health, the quarantine, the customs, everyone down there. So this is a multi-agency or cross-sectoral response to this issue, and that's what we've been doing from the beginning of our operation, and all for the reason to make sure that the country gets the quality advice. If it requires expert advice from the Ministry of Health, such as this case, we will make sure that we get that from the ministry. All right. So I think this is very, very understandable to the rest of the journalists in this room, that when we respond in a very coordinated fashion, and we make sure that the country is informed.
Thank you. So those intentions are to be commended, and I have seen over the past 8-9 months about the coordinated response of this government. Do you believe that your coordinated response needs to move faster to inform people sooner about what is going on? I'm not sure if you saw, but I know all of us did, the vacuum being filled with misinformation, rumors, and concern on social media and in personal conversations. And do you think your role is to move faster to inform people sooner?
This really depends on the depth of the issue, Ms. Journalist. We cannot provide an answer to a very to an issue of this nature without getting or collecting the maximum information we would like to have to prepare a press release for the country. As you know, there are issues which we can say to the country, okay, these, but there are issues that are very deep, that involves multi-sectors of the economy, that involves multi-agencies of government, that involves NEOC as a collective body. So we will need to make sure that the bases are covered, all right, before we respond publicly. Because the last thing the country wants is misinformation, and as you said, all right, and that's why your role as media is so crucial, all right, because there's a lot of free access to social media, all right, and as we said, our role as advisors to government, as implementers of all these plans at the border, is to make sure that we gather the right information, that we prepare a qualitative, a quality press release so that the country is well informed. That's our purpose, well informed. And well informed comes from effective preparation. All right, we've done our part, we've covered all the bases, and then we respond as a collective body.
Respectfully, so considering the information and the level of information that was released by the Department of Health in American Samoa, how do you justify withholding any information officially for 24 hours? We cannot say that American Samoa have got their own. And you know, as I alluded to my the colleagues here, this is the collective responsibility of the NEOC. All right, we cannot say that the approach we take would be similar to the approach that New Zealand takes, or Australia takes, or any other country takes. This is. Let me tell you this. This is what we have agreed upon with all the organizations in the NEOC. When we respond to the country, we make sure that we access all the information that we could at the time, so that we can do that advisory support to the country. Thank you. And so given Leo's interview earlier in the morning, how do you then justify withholding information from the rest of the country that you did in fact use the morning to deliver some information about what had happened?
I don't know what you're trying to justify. The CEO has already relayed the justification to you.
Sure.
Now, you want me to justify?
Earlier release of information severe saved any lives?
I don't think that's the issue. Actually.
I think that's the issue. We are not in the business of giving out exclusive stories. We're in the business of informing our people and our country with informed and accurate information. And regardless of how long it takes, that's our job. And you don't have to worry about it. The Observer is not the only media.
That's really not
Awareness.
what I'm asking, and you know
Whoa. Don't be rude. You started this argument. In terms of awareness, since March, the government has invested a lot of money, time, effort in informing our people, not only through the newspapers, television, online, current affairs, on how better to respond and address the COVID in case it gets here. That campaign has been quite extensive. It not only involves health, but a lot of government agencies, which also includes the Ministry of Women's, which is actually getting out to the women's. So rest assured, the country is well informed, and unless otherwise, then that's your own opinion.
You can access that from health, from NEOC, if you're after very technical questions. E te manatu e tāua i whaafonga mai ele tunu. Ia e pēo na tau whai atu sa mātou tala i le amatanga. Ia e tāua le tātou ngā ruenga o le tatalo lava au nei ia ma le tātou komiti. Ia e tātou tau whai tatalo e pai ai o le tunu o whaafonga mai. E iai a le na o mātou tau tununga. E malu le nei ngā ruenga i le tunu. E malu le nei ngā ruenga i le tatalo a le tunu. A mai tau mai fo. Ia o le tō tele o mātou nei. Ia ai whaapea fo i lau whai ngā ruenga i li imta mai tai fo mai o leo o i la tō o le tiute ma vaenga o le pui pui ngai ma la valele ma uafu whaava malo. Ia iai fo i o la tō a inga ma la tō whanau. Mai le tau mate fo ia o le tō tele ia o nisi o ni alo e whaasino i le tunu o lo o ngā rurua i le au ma le pō. A le nganga a tō tātou ma lolo ta ui e nei ngā ruenga. Ina ia o tātou ngā rurua i whatas. E tā ua i fo i ngā ruenga a i lantou o lo TUSITALA ma whailo atu i le tunu ia ngā ruenga nei. Wa o le tā ua. O le alawa le ngā ruenga o lo whaatino e au tō o auna nei tō te wāwa ai mai MCC le mai ai. O le au aunanga o lo whaatino mo le tunu. Ma o le tautonga fo i nasa tauto ai ia i lantou nei o i mātou uma e whaape fo i tai o le tātou malo. Ina i whaatino le au aunanga i le mawhai i ngata i le mawhai. E a mai e le tua. Ma o le tā ua fo i la le i whaafonga mai Samoa. Ia o lo o ngā lulue lau o whai ngā ruenga. Lau whai ngā ruenga le tātou malo i le malo si mwhai ai suatu le li fo mai nei. Whaaton si le o soi fu malo ina suatu so alo. E beo na tau mwhai atu se tala. Ia e tau mwhai le pui puinga i le malo si ma le ato toa. Ia e mwhai e le tātou pui puinga. Ia ai tātou te wha moe moe u malava mea uma i le tua. O ia o loo tai ala ina ma tai mua i le nei tunu ma le whaulaunga e beo ni whai atu se tala. Ia ua tali a toa le tau sanga. Mai ma moli e fo i whaafitai le tāpua inga Samoa. Moli atu le whaafitai le tāpua inga nei mātua. Ia ai maise o tātou a inga i matua tausi ma le vasenga o Saalavi. Ia ma tai tai o le tunu. Ia e le tatalo mai. O le ngā luenga. Ia ele mawhai e le ausa lea ma so alo ma tātou KOMITI. Ia o le li palmia fo i lea ma lang kabineta. Ma tai tai uma o le tātou tunu ma le malo o na tau mawhai pito tasi tātou ngā luenga. Ia o le nganga le nā e tō tau mawhai atu. E nā o na mātou whape atu. Ia o lo o malu le pui puinga. Ia o tātou tua o i wha malo. Le asfale le nei o tala tai au. E tau nuu mai fo i lisia tātou wha mai New Zealand. Ia e moli mai e u tātou tangata. E masalo o atu fo i li tolu se lau tangata o le a FAALAVELAVE tuia nei taimi. Ia ma o le pui puinga fo i nā o lo whaatino. O lo tau mwhai e ali imita mai tai fo mai. Ia o lo o ila lo i tātou malaiwa lele. Ia o sa mātou tala lea e moli atu i le nganga maulalo. E fo i le nganga e tātou te mafuta pēr. Ia ai mātou te mōmia. Ia lau tau te talo. Ia ma lau tau tui malo fia mai. Ia a o whea ngai lau whai ngā ruenga le tātou malo. Ma tai tai nei. Ia ma le tau mwhai ngora nei pito la au. Ia le leile tua i tāpua i ngā le tunou. Wha manuia le tua i ngā ruenga o le nei aso. Ia e wha pia fo i le nei tua le tātou lau lau. Ia maua lo tātou malos. E wha awa waila au unanga i a Samoa. E pei ona mātou tauto ai. Ia manuia le wha fonga mai Samoa.